Hey beautiful people, this is your girl Kenesha Cook. I am right here at Cabin Fever Roasters here in Douglasville, Georgia. It's a community coffee shop that is owned by Rick and Gayla. Rick and Gayla are a married couple who pretty much started their business from scratch. They're like anybody else. They had the American dream. They both quit their corporate America jobs, and now they have their own business that does really, really well. I'm gonna have a chance to sit down and talk to Rick more about how he got to where he is, and I'm so excited to talk to him. So come check it out. Beautiful people, I am now sitting down with Rick Aloisi in his beautiful coffee shop, Cabin Fever Roasters, here in Douglasville, Georgia. Rick, I'm so happy to sit down with your name. Has gone a long way in this community. I could be at the gym and they're like, "Yep, have you been to Rick's restaurant?" I'm like, "Yep, I know who Rick is."
Well, good.
So your name resonates in this community.
That makes me feel happy. It's really a small town.
It is.
A lot of community here.
It really is. Okay, so this place used to not be a restaurant. It used to actually be a dive place. Tell us more on the history of this coffee shop.
Okay. I'm not familiar with the names of the guy or the gal that had the dive shop, right? But it was here for almost 20 years,
wow.
You know, and which is amazing because in an old historic downtown district to actually have a dive shop there is kind of crazy, right? But then that shows you how small town is. You fit in whatever you can fit in, and wherever it is somehow isn't really important. And there used to be a dive tank built right in here where scuba divers would learn to dive, you know. And then if you want to go further back, way back in the day, it used to be a coffee house. Back in the 30s, in the 20s and 30s, Giles was the name of it. You know, they were a prominent Douglasville family. And that ran for quite a while. And I've had customers that have actually been here in Douglasville their whole life actually walk in and go, it's like bringing it back to life, you know?
Right.
Because it, for the older people, it brings back the memory. For most people that are young now, it's something new, something that's been refurbished and reverberated into somebody else's dream, which is a nice thing because it got to be mine and my wife's.
Absolutely. Also, too, talk about used to be a jailhouse back there, right?
Way back in the day, in the early 1900s, this was the Douglas City Jail, right? And that was in the very back of the building. And I'm not sure, it's mystery or it's myth, right? But that if you tear away some of the drywall in the back of the building, there are still bars that are in between the brick.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy. Also, too, you see all of the writings on the walls, and I know that that represents the community here we have in Douglasville. I even see sometimes money on the top of the ceiling. Explain more how you allow people to write on the walls, and what does that mean?
We do. It started out the very first day me and Gayla opened up the door for the public.
Yeah.
I tagged the wall up in the corner, one of those little husband and wife things where you put Rick and Gayla, 2004, right? And a group of young people came in and they saw it tag the wall and they decided, wow, you can tag the wall. So it started growing from this wall, stretching all the way down to the store. And over 3.5 years, we've collected a little over 7,000 signatures from our communities that are sprawled across the walls. It's interesting and it's curious. There are a lot of RIPs on my wall. There are a lot of successes on my wall, a lot of failures on my wall. Everyone expresses their emotion. But by tagging my wall, it sort of gives you ownership.
Absolutely.
You know, it's your place when you come downtown. I find a lot of people that tag the wall sit at the same seat and have for over 3 years every time they come in because their signature's close to them there, you know.
And you guys are really big about giving back to the community.
We are.
So the money that's on the wall, you guys do it to charity?
We give it away every year.
Okay.
Yep, and we do a lot more than that. you want to take, if 10% is good enough for God, 10% of your business should be good enough for your community. We don't always hit 10%, right? Of course, business dictates, but we do whatever we can locally. And I try to keep my name out there. Most people know that we're here to be able to help them.
Absolutely. So it's crazy because you and your wife both own Cabin Fever Roasters Coffee House. You know, some married couples, dynamic duo cannot work together like that. That's like a big no-no in a relationship or a marriage. Like, how do you and your wife work together, and what made you want to own your own business, be your own entrepreneur?
It's a shared dream, right? I was in the corporate world pretty much my whole life. I'd worked for myself ever since I was 29 years old, right? So I was always busy doing my thing. And you work hundreds of hours, and sometimes you're not at home. You miss the family, you miss the kids. You find that your wife's doing most of the raising, most of the bill paying, everything. And you're working 18 hours a day to try to make that possible. So you think that's the happy way of going about it, right? So not everybody, when you're young, can afford to live their dream. One day after my wife passed away, I'd been with Gayla a couple of years. I went back and did the same thing. I didn't know any different, right? Work all the time, right? And Gayla told me one day in the house, she goes, it's like living with a stranger, right? You have no time for friends and family because work comes first. And I had it backwards, right? I had done all the legwork. I was pretty secure in retirement, but I never really done anything that was personal or made me happy.
Right.
So
Risk taking.
yeah. So we had that conversation. What do I do now? She goes, well, the first thing you do is you quit what you're doing. And I said, okay, we've done that. What do I do now? She goes, well, you have clothes in the closet, but you're never home. So it's like living alone.
Right.
So I want you to come home. And I said, well, I have to go out and I have to earn a living.
Right.
So she said, well, quit your job. She goes, you remember that little hobby I taught you when I met you? How to roast coffee? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't think I'll be really good at it. I said, you're the one that really needs to open a coffee house. She goes, well, you do the roasting and I'll do the coffee house end of it. And I said, do you really think we can work together? And she goes, well, we'll make it separate, right? So off we go. I flew off to Seattle, went to roasting school, right? Little by little by little. Whenever you're going to fulfill a dream, never go at it haphazard. You're either all in or you're out, right? If you really want to make something happen, right, don't listen to everyone around you saying only 1 in 10 makes it, or only 1 in 1,000 can do this, right? It's just fortitude. Anybody can be successful in America if you just find something you love and do it better than anybody else, right? So a principle that I've preached my whole life, now it was my turn to practice it, right? So with a little encouragement from friends and family, I started out roasting a small amount of coffee. I went from, I don't know, maybe 100 pounds a month to around 3.5 ton every 3 months, and growing from there. And we were doing okay with the roastery now. And then Gayla says, let's go for a walk. And I'll never forget that day. We're walking here in downtown Douglasville, and she's looking around. She's going, it's kind of chilly. We should get a cup of coffee or something. And there was nothing here.
Right.
And we're thinking, wow, we roast coffee. And Gayla's like, we should open a coffee house. And I'm like, well, that's what you wanted to do, right? She's like, well, yeah. She goes, how do you go about that? I says, I don't know. She goes, well, we do things in the community, so how about we have a little coffee tasting, and we'll see how everybody likes our coffee, and if it's worth it, we'll go ahead and do that. So we invited the Board of Education. And everybody came, partners in education, and we sat down and we offered our coffee for free. And everyone loved it. That was the first vote of confidence after 2 years of doing what we were doing, to really believe people really liked this. So I said, well, if we're going to open a coffee house, what do we call it? And Gail was like, well, I don't know. We've been bottled up in this house for 2 years thinking about it. She goes, I have cabin fever. And I went, that's it, right?
Yeah.
How many people in America have cabin fever?
Oh, lots of people. Babies
Yeah.
are made in cabin fever.
Yeah, they're afraid to go out. They're afraid to take a challenge.
Right.
They think being bottled up and all those beautiful ideas, especially young people they have, will never come to fruition, right? Cabin fever was the perfect name. So off we went.
Absolutely.
So we went and talked to the city of Douglasville. They were like, well, I don't know. A lot of coffee houses have opened and closed here, right? So are you sure you want to take a chance on that? It's a really big investment, right? Me and Gello took 1/3 of everything we had saved to retire and said, we're either in it to win it or we're not doing it. Right? And I encourage young people, don't be afraid.
Right. And that's going to be my next question too, because in this cycle, we're actually talking about how what's the process of making it, what does success look like setting realistic goals of your business. So you were just about to answer that, how did you set your realistic goals? What does success look like to you?
You want to figure out what you can absolutely afford to lose no matter what.
Right.
And that's your essential risk, right? You want to make sure that you always have a back out plan. What happens if it doesn't work, right? And be realistic. You're going to hear a lot of college professors, a lot of business people tell you, right, be careful about what you do. A lot of people lose everything. But if you already have it in your mind that you don't mind losing that and you're going to take a shot at it, that's what I meant about going all in, right? And if you're doing something you love, all of a sudden you start forgetting about the money. It's not the money that drives you anymore, right? It's existing here and being here, right? And it's a partnership between community and business, right? And your local neighborhood. And after a while it becomes your home and you get more comfortable with it, right? As long as you can afford to stay open, you can afford to get better. And the better you get, the more people enjoy your product. Never forget the people that help you to get where you're at, right? Their love and their encouragement. Never be afraid to take advice, right, from others that have been there before you. And before you go and do it, seek it out. Go visit coffee houses. I was in the corporate world. I traveled all over the United States. Within 1 month, I could be in 12 cities. Everywhere I went to coffee houses. That's all I did was watch them. And I would do my work in there while I watched them. I'm learning all the do's and don'ts, right? And then it finally hit me. There are no do's and don'ts, right? We serve coffee. It's not meant to be pretentious. It's been around for 2,000 years. It originated in Ethiopia, and who would have knew way back then that it would have been the most traded spice in the world, right? And now the second most popular drink in America with the exception of bottled water.
I thought it was going to be tequila.
Yeah, well, it could be, right? Tequila is also a very nice choice.
It is, trust me, I know all about that. Also, too, so since you're on the subject of talking more about your coffee, I understand that you have coffee that's like from Cuba,
I do.
Jamaica that we talked about. I got a
Well,
little Jamaican.
Cuba doesn't grow coffee as a standard for trade out on NASDAQ, right?
Right.
But coffee grows usually anywhere within about 300 miles of the equator, north or south.
Now, do you
right?
travel to those places to
I
find them?
haven't yet,
Okay.
but coming up soon, probably 2018, me and Gail will plan on 4 or 5 trips.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to go and visit the farms that we actually buy from.
Wow.
A lot of our coffee we'll buy direct right from that country and right from those small farms because we can get fair trade money, right? Say, for example, the market is somewhere in, and everyone knows NASDAQ, so they're watching. and COFF is down at $1.24. Well, that's the market price for it. Then you have to factor in actually physically getting that coffee into America. That's going to double the price. So now the price has doubled, now it's on the market in America for sale. So now you have people marking that up to give you availability. Whenever we can go directly to the farm and buy that coffee directly from the farm, we're going to do that because it puts the money in the hand of the farmer, right? And it helps to promote them as much as us. And in return, we get top quality, grade 1 coffee.
It's almost like farm to table, but just with coffee.
It is farm to table.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Also, too, I was going to ask you, what advice would you give to somebody that wants to be an entrepreneur? Because like you said, you quit your job.
Yeah.
You followed your passion. Somebody might say, I don't even have enough money. Like, where did you get your money from to start? I think it's a good place for people who are really interested in being entrepreneurs.
And I saved, right? If you want to open a business, you have to have a business plan, right? Part of that plan is where are all my funds going to come from? So you start small. You literally have to start training yourself for the day when you're actually in business. So I put away 10%, right? 10% over X amount of years really adds up, right? Don't try to make dreams happen too fast, right? Most young people even know this. They see places pop up in a few minutes or a few months later, they disappear, right? They have a really good idea, but they have a horrible venue, right? So the venue gets tired, right? You want to save enough to sustain you. So you want to do your math and your homework, right? You want to study other businesses that have been successful, and then you want to find out what do I actually need to sustain. Whenever you're going to open a business and you have all your ducks in a row, make sure you write that down. And it's an every night thing. You're going to look at this before you go to sleep at night. So the very first thing you think of when you wake up in the morning is where you left off at night. You have to live the dream before you own the dream. So when you walk into it, you're already accustomed to it. So you want to save, right? And start small. Don't buy into something really big, right? You want to open something up and you want to introduce it to the local people in the community or wherever you may be working, and let them critique you openly, right?
Kind of like you did with the sampling of the coffee.
That's right.
Okay.
And you want to take suggestions, right? Don't ever think that your idea is so grand, right, that it's going to be better than everyone else's, right? There are, 350 billion people on the planet. Don't quote me on the numbers, but my idea, there's no way it can be the best, right? So I learn from the very people who come to me, and they help me overcome these problems. I love Coffee House because it's a quiet and quaint place where a lot of business people sit down, actually use the internet. It becomes their office. What a better place to learn from business people than the very people that are coming to visit you, right? So I try to learn as much as I can about people, about my product, right? But the one thing I never lose is the love for what I'm doing. And I try to transfer that onto other people, right? Accepting.
Right. No matter how old you get, you're never going to stop learning. It's a continuous.
Yep. And for young people, don't believe that age thing, right? That you have to be a certain age to make things work.
Right.
You really don't. You have to have a really good plan. You have to love what you're doing, and you have to want to be the best at it. The way to become successful in America, to be able to fully sustain yourself without the help of working for another individual, is always your diligence, right? It's all on you, right? An easy way to overcome and handle that, right, is don't put the burden just on yourself, right? Spread the burden out, right? And ask people for help, right? You can't do everything on your own.
True.
So you have to rely on other people,
Right.
right? So as long as you're going to rely on other people, learn from them.
Absolutely.
Right.
Let's talk more about you're more than just a coffee house. So if you guys ever come to Cabin Fever Roasters, they serve more than just coffee. Let me tell you something. They have desserts like chocolate, cheesecake, lemon. I mean, I probably gained 300 pounds since I've been to this restaurant because you have amazing things. You have soups. You have talk more about the other stuff on the menu besides coffee. That
Okay.
you serve. What's your hottest?
My hottest item
Uh-huh.
would have to be our coffee,
Okay.
right?
Coffee.
But secondary to the coffee, we've gone over all our numbers for the last 3 years, right? It's really sort of a tie thing, right? We said, well, if we're gonna serve soup, right?
Uh-huh.
Or a small bistro menu, right? It's gonna be homemade, right? Every day we come in around 6:30, 7 o'clock. We scratch make up to 4 soups.
Oh, I know.
Right.
Because I tried to ask y'all for that recipe, and she almost cussed me out. Because they have
We don't give the
They have this
recipes
amazing
away.
potato soup. Oh my gosh, it is so. I mean, it doesn't even taste like anything I've ever had.
Like mom would make it, huh?
Definitely like mom would make it, but she might get mad at me. It might be just a little bit better.
I wouldn't say that on TV.
I know she may not be watching this, but if she is, sorry, mom, I love you. But your potato soup is good. You don't give out your recipes like you said because
No.
it's very sacred.
All my employees sign a waiver when they come to work. All of them.
Really?
And we keep what we do in-house in the kitchen a secret. But the one thing we don't do is hide our products from the public, right?
Right.
If you notice, we're one of the few venues you walk into, the kitchen is completely open.
It is, yeah.
There are no walls, there are nothing hiding our shelves, so all of our customers can see our products.
Right.
And I think that helps them feel more comfortable about what we're serving, right? We don't sneak little Oompa Loompas in the middle of the night and leave things on the shelves. On any given day, you come in from 7:30 in the morning till right around 11
Well, I know I
o'clock.
came at 10 o'clock and used to get the same stuff you get at
Yeah.
7 o'clock versus when you
All
go
my
back to
guys
close.
and gals are back into the kitchen, homemaking everything we do every day. We also have a full deli, right? We hand cut all our own meats. And when we're buying these meats, we really want to look out for the nutritional value of what we do. So we like smoked turkeys and smoked hams, right? They're going to be a little more lean. And then because we're buying them smoked, we don't have to use all those sulfates, you know, and the salty things that actually preserve what's inside of that meat. So you're serving fresh and healthy. The same as our vegetables. We go out every 24 to 48 hours and we buy new. We want to keep it fresh in the house. Have you ever had a sandwich where you go to bite into the lettuce and it's soggy?
Yeah, I can think about 100 restaurants, but I won't name them on
Yeah,
here.
and you're expecting that really nice snap.
Absolutely.
Or that tomato that has just enough juice to leave a little bit of flavor, but it doesn't make your sandwich soggy, right?
Right.
Those are the things all my guys and gals at Cabin Fever Roasters focus on when they're working in the kitchen, right? So you want to bring something that's very low cost or moderate for the neighborhood that you're in.
Right.
Give a real value when you serve it. Have you ever had one of our small sandwiches?
Yeah, remember my favorite sandwich I always get is the turkey, the roasted turkey sandwich. It comes with like amazing mayo. You guys kind of crunch the bread a little bit, kind of toast it. I mean.
Yeah.
And then you put like green pepper. It's amazing. It's really good. I've had almost everything here.
Thank you. Our desserts, we do about 60 different desserts,
Oh, I know.
which is pretty unheard of for a very small coffee house, right?
Delicious.
But because of the downtown district, right,
Right.
we get really, really busy in the evening because where else do you want to go just for coffee and dessert, right? You don't want to go out for a full dinner, and at the same time you want to be able to relax, right?
Right, absolutely.
So we throw in a little hip music, it gives you a way to go out. We have couches and benches.
And
we
speaking
have
of that really quick
musicians.
too, speaking of musicians, you guys do music on some different nights where you
Yeah,
have
we-
different
all the
open mic
time.
nights. So talk more about open mic night for guests who might want to come to your restaurant that's
Yep.
interested in spoken word or
Usually
whatever.
Friday night Saturday night, right, we have live music. We'll book in live music, and it's usually local from the Atlanta metro area.
Okay.
You know, we don't do any really hard rock or any of the punk or any of the rap
Is
music,
there a fee
right?
to get in?
There isn't.
Okay.
Nope. Cabin Fever Roaster is open to the whole community. Everybody's welcome, right?
Right.
The only thing that we ask is please have a cup of coffee. That's how we pay our gals, right?
Absolutely.
But where else are you going to go for live entertainment, right? A great place to sit down that's comfortable, especially on the chilly evening. And the price of admission is a cup of
Not very
really
many
good
places go to
coffee.
jazz place. I like one in Alpharetta, and it's definitely an admission to get in there. So it's nice to come here and you don't have to worry about
Right.
spending. I can spend that money on helping put it into your amazing business.
Yep.
And last two questions for you. So I understand that, like we talked about earlier, that you give back to the community.
We do.
So you have Alex who works here. Alex has Asperger's. Talk more about how Alex works here and how he's overcame and he's going to college. So talk more about that.
Alex, when he first came to us, his teachers wanted to find an outlet or a part-time job or something he could do to get him into the community. He was getting on that 18-year-old age, right? Where he has to learn to be completely self-independent, or as much as he possibly can. Gayla, because of some things that happened in her past, even with one of her own children, had a soft spot for those with disabilities, right? So Gayla thought it would be a good idea, after talking to all the teachers that frequent our coffee house, to give one of their students a chance to come in as an intern, right, and work as an intern. That way they'd be with the public and it would help them to open up a little bit, because usually people in this situation are very, very shy, or the public sees them in a way that somehow makes them different than us, right? When the disability actually has nothing to do with the work or the performance that this person is capable of handling, but they need to start to feel more comfortable around larger crowds. So Gayla talked to the principal at Douglas County High School and one of the teachers over there, and she had this idea for a student named Alex. And Alex came to work for us in an internship, and that lasted a very, very short time, 6 weeks. And everybody in my coffee house in my community says, "Is he an employee of yours?" And we said, "Well, we're just doing a small program." And they said, "Well, you should hire him. He does a great job, right?" So one day Gayla came into work, and I remember working behind the counter. I was grabbing myself a cup of coffee, and Gayla says to Alex, "Can we sit down and have a talk for a minute?" And I'm thinking, what's going on now, right? And Gayla says to him, she goes, "I want you to know, starting tonight, we're putting you on the payroll. You're a full-time employee now, and you're going to take home a paycheck like anybody else. And you're going to have to keep up with the responsibilities that we've been teaching you over the last 6 weeks." And he's like, "Okay, I've got this handled." Right? He goes, "But I can do a lot of other things too. Is it okay if I do those things?" And it just stunned me and Gayla that everything he had been watching from my other employees, he had already absorbed. And the training that day and the next day, it just seemed like it stopped in time. Like Alex had been here for years and years and years, and this became his outlet too, and you meet a lot of people, but rarely do you meet people that are as excited as the owners about getting up every day and going into work, So having an employee like that is absolutely incredible. And for anybody who wants to open a business or take a venture, look hard for those people, right, who love what you do like you do, right? And just watch yourself grow, because you surround yourself with people who feel like you do. Of course, no one's ever going to be the same. Personalities are never always going to match. For God's sake, we work together, wife and husband. It's difficult enough, right? But you'll come close enough where your employee's personality matches the environment. that they're in, and while they're working, they're controlling that environment. So you also have to have enough empathy to walk away from that and let them have their shot to shine.
Right. Man. You're like one of the most amazing people to interview. Like, I don't have to like pry things out of you. Just you have this flowing story and it makes it so easy. But to wrap things up, do you have any like last words of encouragement that you would want to give to someone who's watching this?
Yes.
And says, if Rick can do it, I can do it. So any words
Yeah.
of wisdom?
If Rick can do it, anyone can do it. And for all you young people out there that are thinking you have to spend your life in college for 8 years to become successful, some things you do in your life where you need that education, it's a wonderful thing. I'm a big education guy too. But I can tell you from somebody, and this is personal, I left college before I even had 2 years. And it's because of other people that were smarter than me. Don't be so smart that you can't absorb. And never ever stop chasing your dreams. Never put it away and never put it in a drawer. Always put it in front of you. And whether you're 18 or you're 58, right? You can do it at any time you want, anytime you're ready. Don't listen to all the naysayers, right? We all know, just from basic education alone, that about 20% of the United States will be in a position where the rest of us will be working for them. You have to make a decision which one's honorable for you. If you want to get out there and you want to be one of those leaders, then you have to do that. And it's not difficult. Don't let everyone make you believe it's difficult. Go talk to business people and learn from them. And they'll show you those steps to walk into it. And then when you go do it, I want you to look back when you're 58 like me and go, wow, anybody can do this in America.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Rick, for your time. Again, guys, if you're ever in Douglasville, Georgia, come on out and make sure you come to Cabin Fever Roasters Coffee Shop. And they have more than just coffee for you people who are not coffee drinkers. Maybe you like a little sweet tea, or you like something sweet and chocolatey like me. So thank you so much, Rick, and I appreciate you. I had such an amazing time here at Cabin Fever Roasters interviewing Rick. Rick is such an amazing person. He inspired me. I hope he inspires so many others as well. Also, make sure you guys get a chance to come out to Douglasville, Georgia, here at Cabin Fever Roasters. Eat their food, drink their coffee, tell them your girl thinks she sent you. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. And